Have you ever asked yourself, what is the difference between fusion belly dance, Indian classical dance, or Indian fusion? And maybe you felt a little confused because online everything seems very blended together. We use the same words for very different practices, which might have the same aesthetics, but also different depths. So today with this video, I wanted to bring some clarity, not to create boxes, but to give you some orientation. Because when you understand the roots, your dance stops being scattered and starts to feel very grounded. But before we go into the details of each of these styles, I want to share with you a little bit of my own story. Because when I started, which is, let's say, more than 20 years ago, time is passing very fast, I started with fusion belly dance, which at that time was not available where I live in South Italy, Sicily. So for me, I always tell my students I started online through DVDs, and then at some point I had the chance to start with my great mentors and inspiration in this dance style, which I'm so grateful for. So I started with fusion belly dance, and then at some point, during my dance journey, I met my Indian classical dance guru, D.E.V.I, which is Nuria Salagrau, and to me, it was a mind-blowing and body-blowing experience, and I felt deep inside my core and my belly that I had to pursue my journey into this dance style as well. I really felt like, wow, this is what I want so deeply. And as I started studying Indian classical dance at the conservatory, so I went to really studying it academically, my fusion belly dance changed, and I integrated the sinuous movements of fusion belly dance and its personal expression, which we're going to see in a bit. One of the key features for me is this personal expression, with the elements that I was studying so devotedly in Indian classical dance, and that's where I started my journey into Indian fusion as well. So let's start to unravel each style one at a time. Let's start with fusion belly dance. Fusion belly dance was born as a creative space, a meeting point. It blends elements from belly dance foundations, so Menahad-inspired movements and American cabaret styles, contemporary dance, jazz, hip-hop, flamenco, and many other movement languages. And at its best, fusion is a verb, not a style, as Rachel Bryce used to say. And at its best is pure exploration. It's expressive, personal, and fluid. That's why I love to interview so many beautiful dancers from this dance style, and I love to always ask the question, how would you define this dance style? Because I see that each one of us has a different take, which is, all of these are so precious and valuable to create a whole collection, like a collage of different point of view on the same dance style. And that's the beauty of this style, because it allows us to experiment, to mix, to blend, and to play. But there is also a shadow side of that, because it's so open. It can also feel fragmented, and this definitely happened to me during my training years, for sure. I was training so much, blending together many different dance styles, and I was going to contemporary class, hip-hop class, belly dance, like Rakshaki classes, theater dance classes, and so I was training a lot, but without a clear center. And this happens a lot in our community. We collect steps, styles, influences, and yet something doesn't fully land in the body. The dance looks so interesting, but doesn't always speak. Now let's move to Indian classical dance. So Indian classical dance is not a fusion in the sense that it's not a contemporary hybrid movement style. It's a codified form, a complete codified system. So styles like Bharatanatyam, Mohiniyattam, Odissi, Kathakali, Kathak, all of these and many others, all the Indian classical dance style, which are usually 9 or 8, have precise technique, codified postures, a defined grammar of movement in a deep cultural, philosophical and spiritual context. In these traditions, dance is sadhana, a daily practice of attention, discipline and devotion. Mudra or hand gestures are language. Gaze is refined, it's a direction of the movement, and the geometry is not just aesthetics, it's energetic. So you don't borrow from Indian classical dance, you enter it. And this requires time, a lot of time, humility, devotion to the art form, guidance, and respect for the lineage. So it's definitely not something you add casually to another style. And now we arrive at Indian fusion. So let's see what Indian fusion is not. Indian fusion is not Indian classical dance done badly, and not fusion belly dance with Indian flavor. Indian fusion is a dialogue, a conscious meeting between the freedom of fusion on one side and the structure of Indian traditions on the other side. And let me also say the embodied living philosophies of Indian traditions on the other side. When done with integrity, Indian fusion keeps clear roots, understands what comes from where, honors the depth of Indian traditions without imitating or appropriating. So Indian fusion asks a different question. How do I let Indian dance principles reshape how I move, not just what I move? Let me say that again because it's really important. The question is, how do I let Indian dance principles reshape how I move, not just what I move? So it's not about copying steps. It's about absorbing these principles. Precision, direction, presence, meaning in our dancing bodies. And this is where many dancers feel the call, but also the confusion. So let's recap the differences between these three dance styles in a different way. If I would choose, the real difference is not the aesthetics, but it's the different orientation of these dance styles. Fusion belly dance asks the question, what do I want to express? Indian classical dance asks, how do I serve the form with devotion? While Indian fusion asks, how do I embody meaning through movement with freedom and responsibility? And this is why Indian fusion can feel so powerful and also so challenging, because it asks you to stop just decorating the body and start to inhabiting it. So let's wrap it up and say that if you've ever felt technically trained but not fully expressing, inspired by the Indian dance elements but afraid of using them superficially, or stuck between control and chaos, I believe that this clarity changes everything. It shows you that you don't need more styles. You just need a deeper relationship with what you are already doing. And if something in your body is responding right now, if you feel that your dance is asking for more soul, more presence, I want to invite you to my free masterclass, which is happening on the 19th of January, if you're watching this video on January 2026. And the title is From Fusion to Indian Fusion: How Movement Becomes Presence, Language and Devotion. It's going to be live on Zoom, but you also have access to replays if you cannot attend the live. And it's not about new moves or steps or combos or choreographies, but it's really about shifting the way you inhabit your body while you dance. Find the registration link down below, and I can't wait to meet you during the masterclass.